Hey, what's up? I'm bringing you all back into the Mindwave sphere today. We're going to be ranking all of the microgames, except one, from easiest to hardest. I'm not ranking the boss minigame because that one is not comparable to the rest of these. These are all microgames that you can play in the endless mode that I'm going to be ranking. Not this one. This one doesn't appear in the endless mode. It is the boss minigame. It is only played at one speed, at one difficulty setting. We don't need that here. Maybe when the full game comes out, they'll implement that into the endless mode, but we don't have that right now. Just as a bit of a ground rule here, I'm just gonna be ranking the microgames as they are. So I'm gonna be ranking them like based on just how difficult they are as is. So without the pop-ups or the combo time stuff or the screen flipping upside down, like I'm not ranking them based on like how they are with those gimmicks intact. I'm going to be ranking them just purely based on how they are, literally. Let's go over the tiers, shall we? So the first tier that we have is we're ranking them from easiest to hardest, right? So here's breathing. Here I've ranked them from the easiest things to do to the hardest things to do. Well, I mean, unless you have asthma, in which case, good for you! Which, in that case, I am so sorry. Next one up, the maze on a restaurant's kids menu, if you know what you're doing. Can I get a new menu? This one's too hard. Which I don't. The next one up is solving a CAPTCHA. I wonder which microgame is gonna go in there. Sometimes the CAPTCHAs, you know, sometimes they're a little bit difficult. You know, like sometimes you can have like the odd one that's like, hey, click on a bicycle, and you click on something that you think is a bicycle, and then it turns out to not be a bicycle because actually it is a car. I have identified it to be a limousine. Next one up is probably one of the hardest things that you could possibly do for all of time, which is opening a pickle jar. So here I have one pickle jar, and as you can tell, it just won't open. So obviously, the logical thing to do would just be to give up, right? But no. That's why you get another jar of pickles and try again. Rinse and repeat. The only thing, of course, harder than opening a pickle jar is the absolutely impossible thing that you could possibly do, which is dividing by 0. And I've never seen anyone do that before, so it must be difficult. Why don't we get right into it then, shall we? Disappointment in the game of life, we have spin. Which is actually not gonna go in breathing, it's gonna go on this one. Spin is pretty easy, you just gotta go whoa, whoa. I don't know if you can do this one way, if you have to do it a certain way, or if you can just go the other way. I'm pretty sure I have like done it the other way and it works. Like, you know, like in this microgame, you have the arrows that like tell you which way to rotate your mouse. So like normally you're supposed to rotate it this way, which is counterclockwise, but I'm pretty sure I have also done it clockwise and it has worked. You don't quote me on that. I'll have to double check that. Yeah, great. First microgame and I don't even know like any facts whatsoever. I don't know anything that's ever happened. I'm sorry. Even so, let's be real here. It's pretty easy. Just spin your mouse around and, you know, you have to do it pretty fast when it gets to like insanely high speeds. But at the same time, don't spin too fast. Don't spin too fast because otherwise you're going to accidentally move your mouse from side to side like this. You're gonna look like grandpa having a seizure at the computer and it's just gonna go haywire on you real quick, so don't do that. You wanna make sure you're still making those circular motions, for sure. Next up is brush, which is, I mean, honestly, it's about as easy as breathing, but at the same time, I wanna put it up here. There was a patch, before this video was even recorded. I'm recording this after the patch, so that fixed up a few of the microgames, and one of them was this one, where sometimes, not that it's happened to me, but sometimes the hair would just, like, it would undo itself after you beat it, and I think that would cause you to lose the microgame. It's like, it's really funny. But that was fixed. That was in the patch notes. You can still brush the hair, like with a little bit of a with the mouse, you know, like it's literally just and then you're done, like. And sometimes you only have to like wiggle it like twice, sometimes you have to wiggle it like 5 times maybe. It varies. but like at the end of the day it's still just wiggling the mouse. It's really not a big deal. The main thing you just want to watch out for is just, you know, don't do it too few times, you know, like even if you think you have it, don't stop. Like just don't stop wiggling the mouse, basically, because you're gonna end up, you know, you're gonna end up losing a microgame because you think you have it, but nope, you don't have it. I would say the excessive mouse movement that you need for spin, like that requires a lot more mouse movement. Brush is gonna go under. Brush is a little bit easier than spin, in my experience, at the very least. Next up is sort. This one can trick ya. That one's gonna go in solving a captcha, because this one can trick ya quite a bit. Sometimes the boxes will literally switch on you, and you have to like actually manually look and check to see which box is on what side before you put the bunnies in. And there have been so many cases where I've just like accidentally like almost put the blue bunny in the pink bunny box, and then all hope is lost. Thankfully, there's an easy way to tell, and this actually works for colorblind folk. If you look on the boxes, the pink bunny box always has an arrow on the bottom, so I always look for that. That's like the one like focus point that I always look for, like to determine like which one is the pink bunny box, rather than the colors, because you know they are different colors. Like I'm not colorblind, so I can see these colors just fine, but they're both also like really bright and really colorful, to the point where like at a glance, like if I am like really under pressure due to the high speed, it's not gonna be best solution to just look at the colors. I'm more prone to just looking at the bright colorful arrow on top of the slightly darker colored box. That works for me usually, and you know that's how I know like which bunnies to put in which box. So that's good. That's good that they put that there, and you know it helps colorblind people too, as I said. So it's a really good one. Also, it's Bumbies. You love a good Bumby, right? It's also just Bumbies. We just love Bumbies here. Next up is Catch. In my experience, probably a little bit harder than Sorts. Sometimes it can be the easiest game ever, or it can be like your absolute worst nightmare. You can you can sometimes just, you know, expect all the candies to just fall like near the center, and you don't really have to move your mouse much at all. But then sometimes the candy can just fall like across the screen, and you have to be really paying attention where it lies. It is absolutely one of the hardest ones if you're playing on shuffle mode, like just the normal mode with all the pop-ups and combo time. Upside down combo time with this micro game is actually the worst nightmare of all time. Actually, I don't know, because this one like actively tricks you is the thing. I feel like that's better. Because like this one can trick you, but like not as much as this one. Like this one you're actively like trying to sort things into specific places. This one you're just catching the candy, and it can sometimes go like you know. But you know, there have been a number of times where I've fallen, you know, to that mini game, and the ants come crawling all over me. Here come the ants right now. Mash. This one can definitely throw you off. However, I'm gonna go on a limb here and say that this one isn't too bad. Mashing the spacebar is like actually a little bit harder than like finding like the keys that you need to press, like when it gives you like a 2-button, sometimes 3-button prompt. Honestly, finding those buttons and then just pressing them like a couple of times, that can actually be sometimes harder than like pressing the spacebar like 10 times in such rapid succession. It's a good compensation, but you know, like, hey, who's firing machine guns in here? We have Stitch. I feel like maybe it should be the first pickle jar one. The 1, 2, 3, 4 one, though, the one where it's just like 1, 2, 3, 4. You just gotta make the letter Z in that pattern there. But then you have the 6 one. You have to do it. You have to get to number 6. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That I have found to be pretty difficult to do in pretty fast succession. Like when you get to like max speed and you have to do that, you have to be so careful with how you move the mouse. That is something that I am not great at doing, unfortunately. I am kind of a klutz with a lot of things. I'm very fidgety sometimes, so having, if you're forcing me to move the mouse like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm going to mess up. There have been several instances where like I have just like almost not won the micro game because I was either not fast enough or because I messed up somehow. And if you like touch the wrong number once, it's game over, So I usually just find that, you just like try to take it slow like this, go as slow as you need, but go fast, you know what I mean? It's kind of like driving for the first time, like go slow to get a feel of the car, but you still have to go the speed limit. Then we have Care. This is the Chow Garden one, and it's so cute. I love this one, and it doesn't trick you as much as Bunny. Yeah, it can go here. It can go between Mash and Swords. I think it's pretty, it's not too bad. The main thing you just want to look out for is, you have to actually just, you really have to look at what they want. That, and it can also, be somewhat easy to misclick, but, I feel like that also kind of rings true for all these in a way. Transform, that one, I don't like this one. For multiple reasons. This one is busted. I don't know if it's just me, but sometimes I will literally press the arrow key and it just won't register, and I have no idea why. I feel like I'm literally pressing the freaking like direction that is telling me to press, and it just won't do it. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just because like maybe I'm not pressing it hard enough or what, but like I don't know. I feel like it's kind of busted as it is though, unfortunately. I think they might have patched this one. I forget, but like they probably should patch it a little more because I still have that problem where it just sometimes it just won't register the button. On a fundamental level though, like it's not too bad, at least not for me, to just read the arrows. It might be for some people though. Maybe it's a gift of mine that I can read arrows. It's not entirely like opening a pickle jar. I would more so akin it to opening like a can of soda or something. Ooch, each, ooch, ouch, my thumb. Oh god, each, ooch, ouch, it's being squishied. Cross. This one has fucked me over a few times. I will not lie to you. I'm gonna put it, it's not that hard. It's just a little mini platforming challenge, but there's one particular setup of the platforms that can cause you to bonk your head on the final platform if you jump too early, and then that will cause you to fall to your doom. It is pure malice, that one. That is one variant of this otherwise pretty mellow microgame, and I kind of wonder if that was intentional or not, because it's a little bit devious. How about spam though? How about that spam, huh? Easiest microgame in Mindwave, ahoy? You literally can't fail this one. You cannot fail this one. Try to fail it. Try to fail it. You can't. You can fail the microgame, but you can't if you just do exactly what you're being told to do. You are going to go on that keyboard no matter what, because that is what it's telling you to do. Perhaps people like outside of like my younger generation might not understand what that means. Like, okay, spam, like it's spam email. Hey, I got some Coinbit here for you. Hey, do you want some? And then they reply with, yummy Coinbit, and they just go, You know what else is easy as breathing? The grab minigame, the claw minigame, of course. This one is interesting because like it only gives you like a couple of chances to grab, but like here's the thing. You would think that would be harder because it's a claw game. It's gonna be moving side to side at an increasingly faster rate as the game speeds up and all that. But like surprisingly, that's not that big of a deal. You know why? Because you could have the teddy bear over here and the claw could be over here, and the claw will still grab the teddy bear. The teddy bear will just go like, it will just like magnify to the center of the claw, and it's all well and good. So yeah, not bad at all. In fact, while we're at it, a little bit of a rebalance here. Maybe not as easy as breathing because, like, you have to look at a rapidly moving claw machine as the loudest music in the world plays. Here's Paddle. A little bit harder than Brush. Just a little bit, but still one of the easiest ones. The only thing you have to watch out for is just, making sure that you're not hitting the ball on the side of the platform. It's Breakout, right? It's just Breakout. But you might be asking, but what if I have no idea how to play Breakout? Don't go to prison. That's all I can say. This is a void. It's still not that difficult. It's really not that difficult. Solving a CAPTCHA level. They actually did make this one harder as it speeds up because if you remember, like this one actually probably would be like maybe like down here or like down here or something, like pre-patch. But now I have to actually put it up here as God intended because here's the thing, they patched it so that it actually speeds up. Like Abby actually speeds up because before the game would actually get easier as the game sped up because like Abby wouldn't be able to move as much. Like she would spit out hearts faster, but like she wouldn't be able to actually be able to get to you because you kept spitting out hearts like when you're not even in range of her. So you could literally just like camp on like one side of the platform while she's just spitting out hearts at you, and you're fine. You're literally fine after that. You can't do that anymore, and that's unfortunate. Now you actually have to play the micro game, and it's a bit harder. You know, you just have to keep moving, and they won't hit you. Pretty much, like that's pretty much my strategy. Is just you just gotta keep moving. Just gotta keep moving. So then here's Pop. I don't think I've lost this one on simple mode before. I'm gonna put it here. I'm gonna put it here, just above spin. The only reason being you have to look at where the unpopped bubble wrap is. Here's dodge. I'd probably put it like here. You do have to look at the birds to like know when to jump, and sometimes there can be fewer birds, sometimes there can be, you know, the maximum of 5 birds. Overall though, like it's a bit more mindless than like anything else in this tier, in my opinion. The reason I say it's hell on regular mode though is because the blur effect absolutely destroys this minigame, dude. You can't see the birds. You can't see them. And especially if it's upside down, like, you know, you're not gonna be looking at the right place initially. You're gonna be like, oh shit, I need to be looking down there. By the time you actually get to looking down there, it's too late. You don't know what hit you because the birds are like next to invisible. I think that honestly, like maybe they need to turn down like that blur effect because like I find it to be a little bit obnoxious. I get that it's like for feel or whatever, you know, like it's for feel because, you know, it's meant to simulate how fast everything's going, how it's like, you know, it's like brain mush. It's like jelly. It's like jello in your head, you know? The last brain cell's in the process of being removed completely is basically what it is. It sure is something else with micro games like these, you know, that are completely motion-based. I guess while we're on the topic, this music one here, which is one of Pandora's micro games, that is also one where you need to be looking at like what's coming at you. The problem is you can't see them because they're moving so fast and it's so blurry and it's just I swear this game is more fun than Mammoth, guys. So next is Dial. It's not too difficult because here's the thing. It only gives you 2 sets of numbers usually. It does give you a third one though. It is the rarest set of numbers. I think the patch notes also said that that number is also more common to get now. I think it still is kind of rare though. Once you get accustomed to this micro game, it's so easy to just memorize the numbers, like just by looking at the set of numbers and being like, yeah, do. The only thing is that once you get that rare number, it's important to keep in mind like the pattern for that. Like for this micro game, it's not even necessarily about memorizing the number per se. It's about memorizing the pattern of which you press the buttons on the flip phone. So like for 22253, I know it's always gonna be like top, middle, top right. It's that rare number that's like a much more difficult pattern to follow. It's like a weird like lambda symbol type thing. It's there to throw you off, basically. It's one of those ones that once again like try to trick you in the most devious way possible. This one is evil because it has the one where you are trying to get across the one and then you like bonk your head on one of the platforms in one of the challenges. But then in this one, it has like the rare number as like its rare difficult one to like just throw you off completely. As for which one is harder, I think definitely this one, as it's definitely one that I feel like is gonna throw people off way more, you know, like, and it has. You don't get that number often, so when you do get it, you always have to have that rare number on the back of your mind. You never know when it's gonna come up, and I think that haunting feeling of getting the rare number, you know it's coming. You don't know when it's coming, but it's coming. That's what puts this above funny bear platforms for me. And next we have Catch the Kitty. Mindwave developers, are you okay? Somehow this one, of all of the microgames, can either truly be the easiest microgame in the world or your worst nightmare. Truthfully, if you play this one, you may notice that sometimes beating the microgame is as easy as clicking the cat once, and then you click the cat, and then you catch the cat. Sometimes it's as easy as clicking it twice. Sometimes it's as easy as clicking it 3 times. Sometimes it's as easy as clicking it 20 times, wondering what the hell you're doing wrong, and it just keeps moving around, and you can't react fast enough to get the cat because it's moving so quickly, and it doesn't matter how many times you click, for some reason, it just won't catch. I don't get it. This one is hard purely because of how busted it is, honestly. It's the hardest one in Starlight as a result. I've lost so many times on this stupid cat one because it keeps running away and you can't do shit about it. In my experience, I just don't have the reaction time. So yeah, no. Bad. It's a good micro game, but I think they just need to polish it a little bit more. Like, I don't understand, like, the juxtaposition between it being the easiest thing, just click the cat once, to then needing to click on it, like, 20 freaking times. Like, I swear to God, I'm clicking it, like, 20 times, and it's not catching. I don't know. What am I doing wrong? Regardless, here's Drop, which is pretty much just Puyo Puyo. Now, you might think that's, like, the hardest thing for a micro game to be, is, like, a freaking game of Puyo Puyo. Like, how could they possibly put that in and, like, have it be simple enough to be a warioware micro game? What if you have no idea how to play this? Well, here's the thing. You don't have to know. You actually don't have to know how to play it, because it tells you where to put it. It tells you where to put the piece that you have. I've seen so many videos where, like, people are playing Mindwave and they get to this micro game, right? And they just don't know what to do. They're like, oh, where do I move it? What do I do with it? That was just mashed shapes, right? Dude, it's flashing. It's literally telling you where to put it. I think that's what makes this one, like, easier than, say, something like Grab, because, like, yeah, there's, like, more complexity in a micro game like this. It literally tells you what to do. It literally is telling you exactly what to do. In fact, even if you're missing the targets, you just have to mash the shapes, and sometimes that can win you the day. So even at that point, there's, like, multiple ways to win this one. The only way you're winning Breakout is by destroying 3 of the blocks. And even then, you know, there's definitely a possibility you can mess up that one, but it's still pretty easy. It's still really easy. Drop is just a little bit easier in my opinion, because it's literally telling you. It's literally telling you where to put it. You just gotta put it there. I have no problems with this, so I don't know. I don't care. It's my list, dude. I say I have had no problems with this micro game whatsoever. So anyway, that's all the Starlight micro games, except for the boss one, which, again, I'm not ranking that one. So far, spamming is the easiest, and the hardest is Catch the Kitty, which, yeah, I can't believe it either, but there aren't a whole lot of hard ones so far. Like, all of these, like, for the most part, like, and, like, I mean, understandably so, right? Like, these are all level 1, right? So, obviously, like, these would be some of the easier micro games in here, right? You know? However, it is the tutorial and the shuffle micro games that, in my opinion, get much harder. for some reason, the tutorial games in Mindwave are some of the hardest ones in here. If you don't believe me, then stick around, because here's this one. Already immediately harder than Kitty. Here's the thing about Catch the Demon. The demon flies in such a chaotic pattern that it's kind of hard to predict where it's gonna go. I think they also fixed this in a patch as well. But I have lost to this one numerous times. You know, I've been on a hot streak of just specifically losing to this one only because I want to make sure that I get it. The problem is when you get to such high speeds and it gets so hard to like actually predict where the demon is gonna fly. It's hard to like actually it's hard to align your shadow to catch it, you know? And you don't want to move your shadow around too much. You're moving a shadow around and you're trying to catch it, and then like sometimes you just miss, right? Sometimes you just miss. And the thing is, when it's at extremely high speeds, you ain't catching that demon if you miss. You, like, at lower speeds, you might get like multiple times over, right? You might get like 1 or 2, like even 3 chances if you're like really lucky. At high speeds, you get 1. You get 1 chance to catch this thing. This rhythm one, catch the music notes. This one never really tricks you as hard as this number pad one. I'm gonna put it there. I'm gonna put it between cross and dial. I don't really have any other comments about it. It's just, you know, like, it's about as complex as you could expect it to get. Like, literally, if you've ever played Undertale's Undyne fight, then you know exactly what this is. And you understand how complex it can get in a short amount of time. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, we have come to the big boy. The captcha microgame. The balls on these developers, dude. I am all for it. It's absolutely insane that they just put this here. I wonder which tier that solving the captcha microgame is gonna go in. Where do you think it's gonna go? It's going to Binding by Zero. It's the hardest one so far, and by extension, it's quite possibly the hardest one here. I won't lie to you. This thing has been the source of so much pain for me. In simple mode, it's even difficult, like even just without any of the gimmicks. But you're trying to tell me all this time, every time I've had to do a captcha, I was meant to be preparing for this moment? You know what's crazy too? It's not even that much easier when you get like an easy code, when it's like only like 2 numbers or 2 letters that you have to input. It's not even that much easier because the easy code can throw you off because you're always expecting something hard. I have gotten better at this over time, but sometimes like you'll just get like a 5-letter code and it can just completely throw you off. Apparently, according to the wiki, you can also get a 6-digit code as well, which I've never gotten. I've never gotten that before. That is absolutely crazy if that's the case. I would not be surprised if they move this one off the tutorial, honestly. Or maybe if they have it on the tutorial, like, maybe, like, here's what I'm expecting they're gonna do, right? They're probably gonna have, like, the tutorial microgames, like Catch the Demon and the Captcha. They're probably gonna have these not just as tutorial microgames, but they're also gonna have them as microgames at the end. Like, they're gonna take a hint from WarioWare Smooth Moves, where it was the exact same thing. Like, the final level of WarioWare Smooth Moves, it actually had new levels at the final level. It had like completely new ones, but then it still had the remote control levels, which were just completely taken from the first level's microgames, which I found really interesting, but they were just a little bit harder in that one. I always found that interesting, because, you know, it's kind of like a reprise in some way, you know? And it also adds to, like, the complexity and the value, like, the chaos of it all. By it being the final level, it's obviously going to be the most chaotic one in that sense. So I would imagine they're probably going to, like, they probably have the tutorial ones, like, be this difficult, because they're actually going to be a part of, like, the final level as well. But they also still have to be somewhat easy enough to have new players comprehend what the hell is going on, you know? I think that's ingenious. I think that's ingenious. I really hope they do something like that. That'd be really cool. Here's a really cool one right here. Find the present. This one is not too bad. I, like, never fail on this one. Aside from the fact that it can sometimes throw you off by putting the present behind you, it's nothing, dude. Like, it really doesn't actually try to fool you that much, so I'm gonna put it right there. You can sometimes just put the present behind you, but, like, really, if it does that, then, like, all you have to really do is just make a habit of looking at the mini-map. It's really not a big deal. Okay, the question of the day. Which is harder, CAPTCHA or alarm clock? Alarm clock's harder. Nah, I kid. CAPTCHA's harder. CAPTCHA is harder. Like, set time. The alarm clock one is, like, pretty difficult, but I wouldn't call it the most difficult one. Keep in mind, CAPTCHA, you can get any combination of letters and numbers. Alarm clock, you have, like, you can also get, like, any, like, combination of times, right? You could get anywhere between 110, in which case all you have to do is just either that or you get 1250, in which case you have to, like, mash the left mouse button to get to 12, and then you have to make sure you get to 50 by clicking the left mouse button 5 times. But much like real alarm clocks, setting real alarm clocks, it's so easy to overshoot, and you're likely not gonna have enough time to get back to the time that you need. But you know, such is the way of life sometimes, you know? Sometimes you just gotta take these things with a grain of salt, you know? Sometimes life is as hard as setting a time on your alarm clock. Sometimes life is as hard as getting out of bed in the morning. The morning. How about now? How about that
Gun.
now, huh? How about that
Gun.
Here's what I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret with this one. It's harder than spin for sure. It's harder. Is it harder than pop the bubbles though? Not really. Because here's the thing. Here's my little secret. I am a little birdie flying into your ear now. Do not see. You need to close your eyes for this microgame because it is putting on my nerd glasses for a second. It is scientifically proven that humans react faster to audio cues rather than visual cues. The microgame knows this. The Mindwave developers know this, right? That's why, you know, like, it's actually like a bit of there's a bit of randomness to this, like, you know, like, it's sometimes like on the beats to whatever tempo the game is at currently. But sometimes it can be a little bit before, sometimes it can be a little bit after. So the key is to not look at the visual cues, actually. The visual cue is, like, really obvious enough to where you're like, it will definitely help. But I find that closing my eyes is a far better solution. This way you'll pretty much never miss your cue, and it will also somewhat prevent you from doing it early. You definitely want your hand on the spacebar still, so, you know, just, like, don't panic press the spacebar too early is the main thing. But at the very least, this way, like, you'll pretty much almost never be, like, too late, you know what I mean? Then there's Circle, the very first one that you play. It's also one of the hardest. It's completely busted. I swear to God, I'm drawing circles, but sometimes, like, it just won't count as a circle. It'll be like, and then, like, for some reason, like, it won't count. And then, like, you go to, like, draw, like, anything but a circle, and then that counts for some reason. That was not a circle, and I definitely did not entrap this creature. This one is easily the most busted in the entire game. So far. It is definitely the most busted. This one is definitely busted too, which is why it's, you know, it's where it is. But this one is, yikes, dude. Here's Swipe, or, you know, what is now known as Push, because it was actually renamed to Push in the patch. I'm assuming just so that people, like, know what exactly they're meant to be doing with the mouse. Like, you're literally just supposed to be pushing upwards. I've never lost this one. It's really easy. It literally tells you what to do. Again, it's like, you know, like, it might be even easier than Brush, honestly. Well, no, not necessarily. Brush is, you know, still just a little... Swipe requires a bit of a more difficult mouse maneuver, I suppose. Like, a tiny bit more of a difficult mouse maneuver. The main strategy for this one is literally to just, like, do bigger strokes of the mouse. You do bigger pushes of the mouse, like, so that you only have to do, like, 2 or 3 big pushes of the mouse to get the hat off. If you do like a ton of like mini ones, then it's gonna like it's not gonna be nearly as effective. Our penultimate one here is
Omni
Exit,
Heaven,
featuring the funny little bear thing. You know, not this funny little bear thing, but the other funny little bear thing. I think it's a bear. I don't know what it is. This one can sometimes be difficult. Sometimes. Literally, it all depends on where the little, like, red creepy things, like the creepy, like, red doodle bobs, like, appear. Sometimes they can be, like, right in front of the door, and you have to maneuver your way around them in order to, like, lure them away. Sometimes they'll just be, like, actively in your way, so you have to maneuver around them in a way, and, like, this one can be crazy sometimes. I don't have that many problems with it, but I think, like, it does up the creepy factor quite a bit, just knowing that a hard version of the game could come up at any point, and that rareness factor to it is, like it's coming for you. The number's coming for you. And finally, we have Strum. Oh my god. It's gotta be the third hardest. And the only reason it's the third hardest is because of one thing. Here's my strategy for how you play this microgame. First, take one hand, put it on one side of the keyboard on all of the buttons that might need to be pressed for the microgame. Step 2, pray. That's literally how I end up actually doing this one so quickly. It doesn't always work because sometimes the combination of like letters can be so like it can be so obtuse to where you actually like have to look at them. Playing it the normal way, I don't know if I can like go back to playing it the normal way though, is the thing, because I'm so used to doing it that way. And also, I mean, it's just so damn satisfying to get that one like so quickly, you know? That's my ranking. This is my ranking of microgames from easiest to hardest in Mindwave. So at the very bottom, the easiest microgame, we have Spam, then Brush, Swipe, Drop, Paddle, Grab, Spin, Duel, Pop, Find, Dodge, Catch, the candy, Mash, Care, Sort, Avoid, Cross, Catch the music notes, Dial, Transform, Stitch, Exit, Catch the kitty, Circle, Catch the demon, Strum, Set time, and Verify. Now, I am aware that Mindwave is still a demo. Here's the thing, I know that anything could change. Literally anything could change here. They could rebalance any of these microgames. A lot of these could get harder, a lot of them could get easier. 2027 is the approximate release year of this game, so we're a pretty long ways off, so definitely anything could change. All these microgames in their own right are so creative and fun, and like a PC warioware type game like this is just absolutely, I think, what we've needed in the indie sphere for a long time. I love warioware to pieces, and I feel like this is something that like a fresh take on warioware is something that like we as weirdo nerd gamers have been needing for a very long time. We love niche stuff like this. I love niche stuff like this, Yeah, I'm so excited for the future. I genuinely am. I need this game to release. I need it to happen, please, God. Nintendo, leave it alone. I say, leave this one alone. You left Pizza Tower alone. You better leave this one alone, bucko. I'm watching ya. Otherwise, guess what, Miyamoto? You know what's gonna happen? You know what's gonna happen to these chips? You're not gonna get any!
Damn it, that wasn't supposed to happen the first time.